at it for 2 weeks, practice number 12. Just maybe look back on the 2 weeks. What have you liked about your group, and what areas still have work to be done?
We just decided for the next few days, we just need to double down and increase intensity on just the fundamentals. You have a ton of time just to put in your system and put in the techniques and teach the techniques, and then all of a sudden the page gets flipped and you're getting ready for an opponent. So we're just taking one more swing at it, making sure that fundamentally and the basic things that our guys have to do, that they're good at them, because that carries over to any scheme that you want to run.
It's kind of what point do you start maybe defining some of those spots that maybe were up for grabs going into preseason camp, and when do you think you'll have the idea of who's going to start?
I think we're getting closer to it. We'll have a conversation. We have a block of 3 practices here today, tomorrow, and the following day. And then we're going to kind of have a couple hybrid practices where it's still our stuff, but we're starting to get some looks that we might get in week 1. So we got to have a conversation at that point. But a lot of the competitions are going to be ongoing. No decisions ever final, and particularly with some positions where it's still close. Guys are going to get time, and practice by practice, week by week, we'll decide what percentage of the snaps guys are getting.
Coach, you mentioned fundamentals. I know going into this fall camp, you're relying on your leaders like Lewis Carter and mixing the guys on offense to hold that standard. Do you feel like that standard has been held as you guys are getting closer to the season?
Yeah, the standards on our football team are way higher. The expectations that we have can be higher and closer to where we want them to be, because the guys are capable of living up to those standards. And that says a lot about the players we have. I think we had our first kid late to breakfast for the whole camp today. I don't know if that's ever happened as long as I've been coaching. We make sure everybody gets in cold tubs after practice, and not one guy is missed, to my knowledge. Again, it goes back to having a 3.4 GPA as a football team. We have a lot of guys that are doing things the right way, and little things matter, and little things are going to matter the most when we're in close games and pressure situations. So I hope the character that is coming out in the guys shines through in those situations.
What have you seen from Connor Meadows and his adjustment right center?
Yeah, I love Connor. Connor's one of our leaders. Connor's just tough. He's a good athlete. He's unselfish and willing to do a lot of different things. We kind of brought him in as depth last year, and he just kept ascending and finished the year as one of our better players, and did most of spring at guard. And we wanted to get him ready at center and figure out who the best 5 were. And I'm still not 100% sure where he'll fit, but we're operating pretty well with him at center right now, so it speaks to his versatility.
How much of a learning curve do you think it is for him?
Once you've been on the line and the blocking combinations and the calls, I don't think it's as hard as it seems. The 2 toughest things are at center. You got to be the one making the calls, and then you got to snap the ball well first before you get into anything else, and that's a big responsibility. And he's done a good job with it so far.
Coach, today it's been reported that heat indexes are going to be as high as about 110 roughly around here. Just what's it been like dealing with the heat so far during practice and as it's gotten hotter over the last few days?
This year we committed to just going outside and pushing through it, and a lot of that was because Zach Duvall and the strength staff took them outside all summer. I can't speak for the players, but this is my 2nd time coaching here, and both times I was here year 1, I felt like I was going to melt out on the practice field, and by year 2, you're like, man, it's hot today, and you don't notice as much. I think you kind of get accustomed to it, but we need to use that as a weapon when people come down here, that we're used to it and we can sustain speed and effort in the midst of a hot situation, and we've kind of committed more to that this season, so hopefully that's an advantage for us.
Whether it's a specific player or a position group, has there been something that's been surprising to you over the first 2.5 weeks of camp?
Surprising, I don't know. There's fewer surprises in camp now because you get more hands-on work with your guys throughout the year, which is a good thing, especially with all the transfers that people have. I don't think you can wait until fall camp to have it be the first time, whether it's walkthroughs or whatever, that you're with your team. So I don't know if there's surprises necessarily, but I've been pleased with a lot of guys and the progress they're making. We still have work to do, but a lot of guys that I was hoping would perform well have lived up to our expectations.
And then you've talked about the international flavor of this team. Have you you learn anything from some of these different cultures and the conversations you've had with some of these guys? Maybe what's been that personal experience that you've had with it?
Yeah, I love to travel, and I've been to some of their homes, so I love talking to them first and foremost. I like some of the accents. I learned how to say hello in whatever native tongue Daniel speaks in Nigeria. I forgot it already, but yeah, it's cool. You know, football is a melting pot, and yeah, not to get preachy, but you know, with social challenges in this country and in the world, and everybody should look to football locker rooms, good ones, because in our locker room, it doesn't really matter where you're from or what you look like. It's teammates, and everybody cares for each other, and you know, people come from different cities, different towns, different socioeconomic backgrounds, and our team, different countries, and it's cool watching all that mesh and vibe, and guys having respect and admiration for where somebody else is from and what they've been through.
You said you like to travel. What are some of the favorite places you've been?
Oh man, Ashley and I took the kids to Italy and Austria and Germany this summer. Traveling with kids it was awesome. Coach Cooper got married this summer in Amalfi, so a bunch of us were over there, and then we decided to make a vacation of it. And I think the kids like the lake country of Austria around Salzburg the best, and that was a good getaway for me.
You mentioned that your guys had to work on smaller techniques and smaller things like that. Can you kind of go into that? What you guys have been working on specifically?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it would take me a while to talk about that. Every position, I challenged them the other day. I kind of picked out one or two things at each position that I thought maybe we weren't deficient at, but that we could get better at. And to their credit, I've seen a bunch of guys step up in the last couple of days and change it. And you know, football, when you really boil it down, comes down to going fast and blocking well and beating blocks and tackling well and throwing and catching it well and the fundamentals. And you come up with a lot of different techniques of how to do it, but teams that are elite and guys that are elite master their craft and do what they do at a high level. And we got to make sure that even when we're game planning, we don't take our foot off the gas with that.
How ready is this team for Bethune-Cookman?
You know, I'm not on Bethune-Cookman yet mentally. I have to be to look forward to playing for everybody, but I want our guys to have 3 great practices today as we're getting the final bits of the scheme installed, and we'll start to turn our attention after the next break, and then we got a couple extra days besides a normal week to get ready for that first game. So I want our guys to be laser focused, and right now it's laser focused on our team, and very soon we'll turn our attention to
What does that ramp up look like?
You know, I think the coaches are ahead with some of the scheme things we want to do. We got to make sure that on both sides of the ball, once we get to that point, that we're giving looks that are similar to what we're going to get in the game, because both sides of our ball create some unique, I think, looks that we might not get in the first game, and we got to dial that in. It's going to kind of be a broken up first week for us. I mean, typically we're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday our work days, and Thursday we back off and have a fast Friday and then go. We'll probably have an off day in between that somewhere with a little extra time to prepare, and then we'll have an extra day going into the second one too, since it's a Thursday game. So I want the guys to fall into a routine, and it's going to be the same routine, just with a day off in the middle.
Scott, penalties were a concern last year for you guys. What have you guys been doing maybe this preseason camp to maybe make sure that doesn't become an issue for you guys?
It was an issue today, and it wasn't terrible today, but I don't like one of them, and we got to continue to work on that. I'll say, when you got guys that are reliable, you have a lot better chance of having them be reliable in those situations too. And when guys are really confident in what they're doing, then they're not thinking about 100 things and forgetting snap counts or to key the football. And that goes in with the fundamentals we're talking about. I want guys really comfortable in knowing their assignments so they can go play fast, but they can also stay calm and wait for the right time to attack.
Does maturity help that as well? Have you brought in players who are more experienced and things like that?
Absolutely. Guys that have been in situations react better. I think we're intentionally really old, particularly on defense, and I can see the benefit of that already in practice.
Coach, you said when camp opened that your team was really healthy for the most part. Has it stayed that way over the course of practice?
Yeah, we've had some issues rise up. Nothing season ending. LA Jesse's the only one that has had an injury that I think is going to cost him a significant amount of time. And everybody else, we've had some nicks and cuts, but nothing else that I would report.
When you can compare that to where you were at this point with last year, how do you kind of compare as far as where the team is health-wise?
You know, some of them you can control by having guys in shape and strong and capable to do what they do, and some of them you can't control. It's just football. But I really appreciate the work the guys put in the summer with the strength staff, and we've seen more capable of doing the things in practice that we want our guys to be able to do, and being able to sustain the workload that we want without soft tissue injuries. So that's been a positive for us.
If you were, during practice, you got your coaches saying, be more violent. Have you seen a change in the physicality of this team, say from spring to now?
Yeah, some people don't like the word violent in football terms. We just mean it to be tough and aggressive, and so I want to asterisk that. But I want our guys to finish blocks and to come off and shoot their shot and go as hard as they can. I'd rather see guys go full speed and go too fast and miss on a block or a tackle in practice, so they know what their limits are. Tentative doesn't win you a lot of football games, so we've emphasized that for sure.
Has Caleb and Ned, has he settled into that QB2 position? And if so, what have you seen from him through the course of spring and now preseason?
Yeah, Caleb had a great spring. He's had a really good fall camp. I'm really comfortable with his abilities right now. That being said, Rocco's done great. Lights has done great. Dante's done great when he's got reps. So there's a lot of guys that are there that I trust, and I think we'll have that conversation after this three practice block.
Just out of curiosity, beginning next season, schools can move up the schedule instead of being Labor Day weekend. You can play on week 0. I know that's something maybe Terry is talking to teams about. Is that something as a coach, as you look at mapping out future schedules, would you like to start maybe the week before and then maybe have an extra bye week in there?
Yeah, I think I would. 2 bye weeks makes a big difference. When you talk about getting guys healthy and keeping them fresh through the season, I particularly playoff teams, it gets to be a long year, and we're still talking about 18, 19-year-old kids in some cases, and it's a lot more than they experience in high school. So I think if you ask most coaches, they would like the 2 bye schedule like we had last year, just for health and continuity of the team and keeping the team fresh. And if we have to start a little earlier to get that done, then I'm in favor of it.
So you're working pretty closely with the running backs, offensive line today. Is there anything specific you wanted to refine with them, wanted them to learn today?
No, if I see something, I'm going to say something, and it gets easier and easier when you get through camp. Like, I don't think we're doing this well enough in addressing that with individuals or position groups. And our assistant coaches are doing a great job. Their standards and expectations are great. The effort they got our guys playing with is great. But if I see something that I want fixed, I'm going to step in and do it. And I also give our assistant coaches credit. As good as they are what they do, they don't get their ego bruised if I step into one in a different way or want to coach them. So I got a really good staff, and they're doing a great job.
Coach, for FanFest, a fan brought in a 99 game breaker disc. I saw that you signed. What did you think about that? Did you even know that existed in the physical copy still?
Yeah, I've told this story before, but that was before college football games got banned, and I think back then everybody played the EA Sports game, and there was an alternative one, and I was on the cover. And this is before NIL or anything, so I was done with my eligibility, so I could be on it. But I think I got like $400 and 2 free copies of the game or something. These guys would laugh at that now, but it was worth it to me to have. I still got a couple copies at home. My son has one in his room, so it'll never be played again. I think the system is irrelevant now, but that was a cool honor.
Antoine was your primary punt returner last year. What's the mix looking like right now in the kick return game?
Well, he earned the right to have our trust back there. I do think we have more guys that are capable this year, and it was pretty thin behind him last year. He's going to be expected to play a lot of defense. So there'll be several other guys that I think can go back there and do a really good job if needed.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.